Hey guys, welcome back to some more Raid Shadow Legends. Today's video, we want to be looking at the core team that we have within here that we're building, really the utility and some of the mistakes that we made as a free-to-play player being new to Raid. And I want to cover these because I don't want other players to make. Now, first of all, starter champion. We started with Kale. We started building them out. We did not buy the masteries right off of the bat. If you save those 800 gems, you can buy all the masteries. You can max this out. It has costed us a crazy amount of energy to go in here and farm these out. And as you can see, we're not even done at this point, but it has become my absolute primary focus is getting some of these masteries built because of the effectiveness and the utility that we see within here. Now, when we started, we also did get Supreme Galak. You can see the exact same. We're getting to the point we're building out these masteries. We did not buy them any or really at all at the beginning, meaning it has taken us, again, a lot of time to get through here. Now, when it comes to building out masteries, going down the line and looking at kind of where we're stuck with these is not splitting your resources. So what we mean by that is when you're coming in, when you're starting to farm the Minotaur, when you're starting to get to the point of farming up the Minotaur Labyrinth, you want to make consistent, you want to make constant progression in here. And the only time you want to do this and the only time you want to farm it is on stage 15. If you're farming it lower than stage 15, the energy return for what you're getting out of here is not going to make a big difference. Now, coming in the Minotaur to get one hero, and if you had only one of your champions that were going to be maxed out with these, it would run you about 150, 160 runs at 14 stamina. You can see how super expensive these are and how time consuming it has been going through and doing these Minotaur runs. But you can see the team we have built right out here. I've been doing the backgrounds, just running until we're out of stamina, and then going back, and I focused again. This is going to be my primary focus. If you caught the last video, we dropped out of doing the events, doing the tournaments. There were a lot that we weren't able to farm or that were costing us way too much for the Fire Knight, so I had to take a step back, had to think about what is going to be most important for the progression on the account, and that is having the ability to build out a lot of the champions and really building out the high-end damage. So what do we mean by that? When it comes to the core comps and when it comes to building these out, there are heroes like Atlas that require a really big build out, require stat-wise, and getting all of the ascension levels on here to unlock the rest of her accessories, getting all of the ascended levels on here to get the red stars on here, really maximizing the heroes that we have. And finally, she is on level 59 now. We almost have her 60, but finally getting to the point where we have these heroes built out to maximize their damage in a lot of different game modes. And you can see we have a few down here. You know, we have Deacon, we have Elaine Marie, we have Yugo in here. We also do have High King Katoon, or High Katoon. We have Taragi, the frog. Now, overall, it seems like we've been splitting a lot of resources, a bunch and across a bunch of different champions. You can even see we geared up quite a few of these that we've been kind of working on perception sets, a lot of other things. Now, with so many different moving parts within Raid itself, it would have really been beneficial for me and for the account, and definitely for you if you're new to Raid, to go ahead and focus on a couple champions and build them up a lot further versus splitting the resources. And I know, even looking down here, guys, we got a couple that we haven't even put gear on that we gained a couple levels on, even looking at Bushi. We also got the Knight Errant. We've gotten a few more, including we just picked up this one, which again, I don't want to lose focus on building out the top end damage with a lot of different champions. And also, one of the possibly biggest overlooks that I had was early game is looking right here at Yugo. Now, this is a hero, design-wise, not a huge fan of how physically she looks through here. But when it comes to the skills and abilities, you cannot underestimate really how incredibly strong she is. Being able to block buffs, which is massive defense decrease, also have that heal reduction in here, and then the increased speed, the blocking damage, and the leech effect. This is massive when it comes to building it out. I've started building out these masteries as well for Yugo. I'm absolutely going to focus on building her out. Now, we also do have, again, we have Deacon, we have High Katoon, slowly building them out kind of little by little, as you can see from the stars on the ascension levels. So I'm at the point where, again, I want to take a step back, Since we're finishing out and clearing Minotaur 15, Minotaur is going to be all of my energy. I'm going to be putting everything into energy. But when you start thinking again, kind of bigger picture, is outside of the energy. You know, you still got the arena, you still got the tag, you got the live arena. I don't want to spend energy on fortress keys at this point with the Ultra of Souls, but all three of these you can use without energy. Crypt keys, exact same. Demon Lord keys, Hydra, Chimera. You can do those without energy. Same with gold and silver keys. All of those can run and be utilized without energy in the entirety, meaning it's very important to be doing everything that you have within Raid because they are yielding you a lot of resources. Now, also when it comes to this game is when you think about the events. So right now we have a summoning rush that is up. I chose not to summon during this event as much as I would like to continue the journey, going up and building this up. So you're going to have to focus, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Looking at the ability and everything that we have within the portal. We have ancient shards, we have some primal shards, some sacred shards. We are saving all of our resources for the 2x event. I was going to go in here, I was going to do the summons. I actually started a video to go ahead and do these, and then I took a step back, look at the cost that were used to summon these, and there is no 2x event that's going up. I do not have enough for this progressive chance to get the 15, 20, 25. With only 16 shards, chances are I'm not going to get an epic or a legendary champion in here unless we wait to the 2x event. As much as I bite my tongue and I don't want to go in here and really sitting on your hands to not go in here and do the summons every time you pick up a shard or two, it's going to make a huge difference if we have the ability to pull some of these higher mythic, legendary, epic champions out of here. Now, I know, again, that could overall hurt my account a little because there might be champions that I don't have access to. But again, on the flip side, I want to focus in the entirety on building up the champions we have. And we're also looking at finishing out this mission. We have to fuse the Justicar, which we're pretty close. We need one more champion in here, and then we do need to build up just a little bit further. So looking at our Relic Keeper, we have these 3 done. We need the final piece, and we need to get Harris out of here. Make sure you're saving these from the very, very early start. It's going to make a big difference. Now, a couple other quick tips, kind of one-hitters, is when you start looking at getting gloves that have the crit rate and boots that have the speed. That is your primary focus. Again, when I started, I focused on a lot more building the sets. Super, super detrimental, absolutely 100%, building out the sets versus just equipping those gloves to get that much higher crit rating, and then the boots for the speed. That is what you want to, that is what you want to drive in and what you want to get for all of your damage dealers right off the bat. When you look at the exponential effect of, you know, an Alice or even like a Supreme Glack, where the crit rating is at 100%, that is the goal. Even here, we're quite a bit over. We could probably change some of this up with the crit rating in some of the chest pieces, adjusting some of it. But overall, I am okay right now with rolling with what we have, looking at accuracy on a couple pieces, and most of it at this point is 5 stars. We started replacing a lot of our gear. Should not have gotten this up to 16. We did it during the event, which was pretty good, but overall need a lot more resources and have to get them to 6 stars. Like I said, with the amount of damage that like a Supreme Glack can put out in a very, very short amount of time, we have to enchant these a little bit higher, have to get some more silver to build it up, boosting up the attack, boosting up the crit damage, boosting up pretty much everything that these champions have, focusing in and really, really building out 4 very solid champions, 5 solid, very solid champions. And of course, you have your damage dealers, but also knowing the power, and this is something, again, early game didn't really understand, was the fill meter. So being able to alter and really adjust the turn meter. So go ahead, 15% faster, decrease the allies meter by 15. Then we have a few where we actually did pick up an artifact where turn meter reduction effects are boosted by 15%. Again, having a decreased turn meter by 15 with the combination of an artifact, and that is literally the second artifact that we have completed from the Chimera. But overall, being able to boost this up a lot higher makes a big difference, getting them built up a little bit further. So going forward, I am absolutely going to go, and I don't know why it took me to the shop for the multi-battle, but I am 100% absolutely, again, going to go into this Minotaur Labyrinth, because ultimately, when we go in here and we're building these out, is once they are done, they are done. That is something you really have to recognize, you have to realize. And also within this game mode itself is when we're going in here and we're building these out is once I do have one of these champions done, let's say for instance right here, Supreme Galak is completely done with the farming of the Minotaur. If he has all of the scrolls that we get and contain going forward will go to the other champions that are within this party, meaning he will not get any more scrolls. So you can systematically get down to having, a couple less champions, where if these two are maxed out, we can drop in a third. The third will pick up everything. But again, I feel like I'm really, really lacking the ability to build these up further, just for the simple fact that I did not go in and I did not focus in building out one specific hero or one specific champion and getting them to a very, very high level early, which again, what was kind of my fault, my bad on that one. Absolutely, if I had it to redo over, I would do the exact same, but I would focus on building out and having those champions much further, much faster. And also the starter champion. As much as I love to farm with the starter champion, I feel like Supreme Galak would have been a lot stronger. He does crazy amounts of damage, where I think like Kale is very consistent with the damage, but I don't know, outside of a couple different game modes, I don't feel like when it comes to legendary champions, when it comes to getting a lot of these built, I don't see many players that are using the starter champion at all, which could make it a big difference or a lot more sense to pop another damage dealer in here and getting all of the scrolls maxed out for them in the entirety, and even looking at a couple more of the support champions that we have in here that we could get some of these scrolls for. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, thank you guys for watching.